I tell you, our country has, though it's still the greatest country in the United States.
We're the greatest country that's called the
The
United
greatest
States.
country in the United States. Well, that's
Debatable.
Texas. That's Texas.
That's Texas.
By the way. Though we're the greatest country in the world, we have seen such a decline in what I would say is the moral compass of America, what really separated us from the rest of the civilized world. And I don't know what that's attributed to. I have my opinions, and I think that a lot of that is due to, like I said earlier, the decline of the American family unit. I believe that it is attributed to high divorce rates, advanced technology that has allowed people to say things that they normally would not have said in my generation from the comfort of their couch. Because back in our day, man, if you wanted to talk to somebody, you had to talk to them, right?
So exhausting now.
Oh man, I was talking to my daughter the other day, and I told her that I just wish that my kids could have grown up in our era. I'm a 77 kid. I was born in 77 and grew up in the 80s and the 90s. And, we were talking about bullying, and I think it's a nationwide crisis that school districts are not addressing properly because of the restraints that are put on them by not only the federal government, but by the state.
Stigma.
It's bad, man. We were just on my show the other day on our podcast, the Secured Podcast. We were talking about this kid in Oklahoma that committed suicide. The kid's name was Next Benedict. Next was a transgender student who had been bullied by the other classmates and had gotten into a physical altercation after he threw water at these individuals. They assaulted him, and then he went to the ER to be evaluated. And then just a couple of days later, he ended up taking his own life. And, I think schools, and I work in schools a lot, I think schools do the natural progression of things a disservice. And, I know that I'm going to catch some flack by saying this, and I'm not advocating violence. I'm advocating for the natural progression of things.
We learn not to do things because we got punched in the face.
And that's where I'm going, right? Like, kids have to learn these things, right? There are consequences to their actions. Unfortunately for this kid, now there's a whole bunch of other things going on. The transgender issue, the whole they, them, LGBTQ movement, and we can get into that here shortly. Kids need to understand that people are different, right? We like to make, as a kid, you'd think that people are all the same. And it's not till you get a little bit older, a little bit more mature, that you realize that what makes us beautiful as a society is that we're all different, man. And I really wish that kids were taught that at a younger age, is that it's okay to be different.
And parents you better introduce your kids to different forms of life, because if not, here's what happens. They go off to college and they're like, yeah. What in the world? There's different views?
Yeah, different perspectives, different views. And, my daughter and I were having this conversation, and, because there's been a tremendous amount of violence here recently at her school. She's a top 6 or 7%, in her grade. She's got a full scholarship to play soccer at Texas A&M, Texarkana.
And I congratulate you on that second I saw you. That's
Thank
awesome,
you.
Mike. That's amazing.
I appreciate it. She's earned it, man. She's earned it. And, we talk about the degradation of American society. It's the lack of parents present, right? And so parents need to be present in their kids' lives. You can't depend upon the school districts to raise your kids, but that's what we're seeing in the United States, is that school districts and teachers and administrators are being forced to do what parents are not doing anymore. And that's not fair to administrators and teachers. And that's why we have such an exodus of teachers in the United States, is because what kids should be learning at home and coming to school with this expectation that they're going to listen and be, respectful, they're not doing that, right? And so getting back to, this next Benedict issue, we're talking about bullying. There's no consequences anymore. Like you said, the consequences when we were kids is you got punched in the mouth, and you learned right away, oh, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah. It's the great equalizer.
It is, but I also blame the governing bodies and powers for not allowing that natural progression. Now in most schools, if you're a victim of bullying and you've had enough and you lash out and you get out of somebody, you're going to be punished just like your attacker.
Absolutely. I told my daughter this. That is their policy at their school.
It's not the policy at home.
It's not the policy at home. If I know that you didn't start it and somebody was physically assaulting you, and my daughter's a big girl. Mm-hmm. I need to learn to quit saying that crap, dude. You don't say that about a woman. She's a strong young lady and she's got size. And you deck a girl in the face or a guy in the face. She punched a kid in the face for popping her bra.
As she should have.
As she should. Yeah. But I said, if you get in trouble at school, you're not in trouble at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had that conversation with my kids multiple times. I tell them, listen, I understand what the policy at school is. I get it. Doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with it.
Yeah.
If you're a bully and you're bullying somebody and you get in trouble, you're going to get in trouble at home or at school and at home.
Absolutely.
And I promise you, it's going to be much easier at school than it is at home. My kids know that, right? But listen, if a kid is defending themselves from being habitually harassed, or whether it be verbally, and people say, oh well, people can say whatever and it doesn't hurt me. Stop saying that to kids. Stop saying that to kids.
It doesn't even work that way in the adult world.
It doesn't work that way in the adult world. That's some that we learned in the 80s. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
They do hurt.
Uh-huh.
And they cause decades of scarring, right? So stop saying that. And it's equally as damaging as a physical assault. But school districts are bound and their hands are tied from actually being able to do something, right? I say that, but I also think that at some point school districts need to start having a backbone and saying, I know what the rule is, I know what the policy is, but at the end of the day, what's most important to me is a safe and healthy learning environment, because we all know that statistically, if you have that, you probably don't have the issues that other school districts do or other schools or campuses do. A safe and healthy learning environment while your kids are on campus is the most important thing that you can have. I don't give a damn about, listen, we sell cameras, we install cameras, we do analytics, we do access control, we do anything. People always ask me, what is it that you do? Everything in security. Well, what is it? We can do cameras, we can do access control, we can do all your advanced planning, emergency operations, we can do all of your behavioral threat analysis, we can create software for you. Whatever it is, we can do. But at the end of the day, schools need to start saying, all right, we're going to do what's right. If that gets us in trouble with the state, then we're just going to have to take that on the head, and we'll articulate that, why we chose to do the things that we did, because we wanted to create a safer environment for our kids and a positive culture and climate. And that tells the kids that they matter, right?
In school, there can't be a cookie cutter, because every
it's different.
It's different in every county.
It's different in sometimes it's different from campus to campus.
Yeah.
Even within the same district, you got different socioeconomics, you have different racial demographics, you have different sexual orientations. It's different.
I saw a clip. I'll see if I can find it. I'm going to put it on here. There's a lady, I want to say they were out of Oklahoma, Arkansas. The difference she noticed in the students when they quit being so strict on dress code.
Yep.
And because that's all they focus, dress code. And they did away with their dress code unless it was over the top distracting.
Right.
But when they did away with dress code and they quit focusing on solely dress code,
yep,
the kids reacted differently because it wasn't just on how I looked and if are my shorts this, is my hair touching my collar, and they turned that and focused on other areas. They saw better academics.
There's a case here locally.
It's my daughter's school.
Barbers Hill.
It's my daughter's school.
Yeah. Where they've made national attention because the superintendent is upholding this policy that says that, a young man's hairline can't touch the collar of his shirt. Come on, man. Get a grip, dude. Not that important. It's really not. It's not that important. Is the kid sitting in class? Is he a good kid or she a good kid? Are they respectful? Do they have good grades? Do they participate in athletics, other extracurricular events?
Well, you hit it right there. That's one of the factors. I understand sports they want to have a certain look for their players. Parents, when you send your kids to extracurricular activities and you read the handbook and you sign off on it, you really don't have much to say after that because you just agreed to everything.
Can't come back later crying over spilled milk.
Yeah.
Don't listen. I encourage parents, read everything.
Read everything.
Read it all. And if you don't agree with it, don't sign it. You don't have to sign it.
Absolutely.
Don't sign it. That gives you an articulable defense.
And cry foul. So this is on topic, a little off. Yesterday, a buddy of mine sent me a reel. Some lady that was an actress in Hollywood, she's filming something live on air. She gets mad at the guy in the car that's with her. She starts hammer fisting this guy to the nose, and this is all live.
Really?
He gets her off, and he tells her, if you touch me again, I'm going to throw you out of this car. And she does it again. She grabs his ear and twists it. He grabs her by the hair, pulls her down, puts his hand on her shoulder and neck, subdues her. She immediately starts yelling because she's on the phone. He's killing me. He's killing me. He throws her out of the car. She goes running down the highway. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me. Well, when the police show up,
They arrest him.
no, they arrest her.
Oh, good.
Because it was all live on camera.
Okay, good.
But people who get in situations and you poke the bear, so to speak,
Yeah.
and then there's repercussions, and then you want to cry foul.
Yeah. Well, I just, I wanted to talk about this next Benedict deal. It's super tragic that this kid.
Very tragic.
I don't care. People are so insensitive, man. And they let politics that really has no bearing on their day-to-day life. They let politics drive their emotions and the things that they say without putting into perspective that this could have been you, right? This may have been you. Regardless of where you stand on the LGBTQ movement, whatever.
A life's a life.
A life's a life, man. This kid didn't have to die. It felt so hopeless that they had to take their own life. That's the tragedy here. But what is worse than that tragedy is the tragedy that no one came to that kid's aid. Like maybe they tried to interfere, but they were, hamstrung. They could only do so much. A policy is a policy, right? Fuck a policy, right? When it comes to the life safety of a child, who cares what the policy is? Do what's right for that individual, regardless of how you feel about their sexual orientation or whatever. Just do what's right. Here's the deal. Do I believe, in the whole transgender deal? I don't really give a shit, honestly. It doesn't bother. Listen, if you want to be transgender, you want to be, or if you're born a male and you want to transition to a female, do your thing. I don't care.
Just leave me alone.
Just leave me alone, and don't tell me that I have to acknowledge that you are a man. My niece is transgender. Now nephew, but my niece transitioned from a female to a male. Don't talk to her that much, but one thing I know, and I hope she knows this, is that I will never let someone put their hands on her, demean her, disrespect her in front of me. I can't help what happens when I'm not around, but I won't allow that. Now, I hope she also understands that though she wants to be called a male name and being referred to as a male, I'll do that out of respect. But at the end of the day, I still don't have to believe that you are a biological male, because guess what? You're not. You know, do I want her using a male restroom? No. Do I want her participating in male in male sports? No, I don't. I mean, we just saw just this last weekend, transgender female transition to a male fight a biological male in a professional sanctioned boxing match, got knocked out in 21 seconds. Guess what? It's because you're a female. You're not a male.
There's a general from the Marines. He was just an interview, and the lady tried to bait him about transgender people. He said, let me explain to you like this. Out of the top cadets, the 21 females we've ever had come through here, the top ones, all but 17 of them flunked out. He said, because when you take 120 pounds and you put it on their back, they can't do
it
what a male can do. No. Now, there's going to be somebody, well, I know somebody who can. Well, dude, you're talking about a 0.001% of the population. So men can't be women. Women can't be men. That's natural design. And if people like evolution and let's take God out of the mix and you believe in evolution, guess what? We're men because of evolution then, and you're women because of evolution.
Yeah.
And if you want to change that, and I don't want to cut you off, but if you genuinely believe 100% I'm a female and you transition yourself into a female, if you genuinely believe that, it shouldn't care what anybody else around you says because you believe 100% what you're doing is right. So if people make fun of you, call you names, it shouldn't bother you because you believe it's 100%.
Believe it's right.
But if you really don't believe it's right, then you have to say, we need to make laws that everybody calls me because I feel that way. No, if that's who you really feel you are, it shouldn't matter.
You know, at the end of the day, man, like I said, this is a hot topic throughout the United States. You know, I mean, one of the greatest athletes, decathletes ever transition to a female from a male.
An ugly female. Very ugly.
Very ugly. But
it's 'cause
I have so much respect for her, you know, because, you know, Caitlyn Jenner will tell you flat out, she does not believe that, you know, biological males transitioning to a female should be able to compete against females. Like my daughter, right? If an opposing team had a male student transitioning to a female playing against my daughter, I'd be all kinds of pissed off, right? It's like the Penn State swimmer. There's a reason why when he was ranked like 470 something in the United States, and then now he wins the national championship because he transitioned to a female. That shit is not right.
And good job to Riley Gaines for sticking.
I was just about to say that name. Good job for her to do that, right? To stick to her principles and her morals and values. But when people hear us talk about this stuff, they go, "Oh, you're just degrading transgender.
You're transphobic.
You're transphobic." No, I'm not. I'm not transphobic at all. I want them to live amongst us freely in our society. I just need them to understand that there are boundaries, right? Why is it always one way? Why do we have to conform?
We have to bend.
Bullshit. That's not right. Like I said, I'll defend anybody. It don't matter if it's my nephew or anybody. I am not going to let anybody in front of me harass someone due to their sexual orientation. You know, I've got an uncle who I love dearly. My wife's uncle, who's my uncle. Hell, we've been together 27 years. I love him unconditionally, and his husband. I love them unconditionally. If anybody ever harassed, intimidated, or physically tried to harm either one of them because they're homosexual in front of my presence, they'd have fucking hell to pay.
Scorched earth.
Oh, yeah. It's not right. You know, we are different as people. Again, we don't have to agree, but you don't have to allow someone to completely disrespect, verbally or physically harm someone just because you disagree with them. We're all human beings. That's the approach that we should be taking. But there should be some limitations. Like I said, when it comes to sports and things like that, people need to understand that. Like, we're willing to bend, you got to bend a little bit too, right? It can't just be one way. That's the reason why there hasn't been such widespread acceptance, is because it's like there's no bending our way,
It's
right?
infringement.
It is.
100. Don't infringe on me.
Yeah, we respect you. I respect, that's what you want to do. Do your thing. I don't care.
I have gay family members. My uncle, who passed away, and he succumbed to AIDS, lived a very unbelievable life, was an art curator. I loved being around him and just letting him talk because he was so well educated. But you want to know something? He came from a different era. He was gay.
Yeah.
He went by a different name that he used in the gay community. And I'll tell you this, he never talked about being gay. In fact, he one time told me, I'm not a hero because I'm gay. That doesn't define who I am. I like men. What does that have to do with my job, my profession, my social and economic status?
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, they came out as, this or that. They're a hero.
Yeah.
We're going to put them on the same toll
Yeah,
as
it's
people
not,
that have,
man.
and
Oh God, we can get into the whole George Floyd debate as a hero too. I mean, and that's a whole nother. We'll talk about that one in the next episode. But at the end of the day, man, like we need people with good, clear consciences who are not afraid to speak how they feel without persecution. I mean, it's like I said, I'll defend anybody who's being harassed, intimidated, assaulted. I don't care if you're gay, straight, whatever. It doesn't, transgender, it doesn't matter to me. What I care about is people, and I don't have to agree, and that's the problem, is that we've become a society where you can't have civil discourse.
I like the way Yogi Berra said it. We agree differently.
That's cool.
Next, let's just go next.
What happened? Why can't we do that now?
It started in the political arena.
I believe so.
And then it carried over to our news organizations to push a narrative that if you have a thought I still have this underlying cough. If you have this thought process that's different, you hate me. No, I don't hate you. I have my beliefs, you have your beliefs.
Yeah.
But now
we
you're
respect
saying,
each other.
You're telling me my beliefs have to be your beliefs.
Yeah. And that's the biggest complaint I have with some, not all, within the LGBTQ community. I'll tell you what, man, I learned so much from my uncles. I love them to death because they teach you, they've taught me how to truly, understand both sides. They've taught me, about humanity. They've taught me about humility, watching them. And, I know that it hasn't been easy for them. Whether I agree with that lifestyle or not doesn't matter. What should matter to all of us is how they treat me or you and how we treat them. That is what is important. That's the truth. But we also need to understand we're not going to agree. And just because I don't agree doesn't mean we have to be fighting.
Even if you change the laws, we're not going to agree.
Never, man. And that's why, we talked earlier about the reason why I'm not, or didn't run for state representative, is that's one of the reasons why, is because, and I stand on my values and my principles. I don't give a shit. If I never get elected, I never get elected. But here's the deal. In 2014, I was in DC, Maryland passed same-sex marriage. And that was brought up to one of my political advisors, is that's going to come out that you voted for same-sex marriage. Why did you do that as a Christian? Because it's not my place to judge. So all these Christians that are out there throwing slugs about judgment, where's the severity of judgment? Is there a scale to that? Because as you're cheating on your taxes or you cheating on your wife, is that less severe than being homosexual?
No.
It's not.
No.
And so all these people that are out there throwing slugs at homosexuals or transgenders because of the lifestyle that they are living, that is their choice, they're not casting judgment upon people who are cheating on their taxes or their wives or their husbands. So, what I would tell people is that
it's low-hanging fruit.
It's low-hanging fruit. It's easy to talk about because they feel like that they have the scripture to support them, but they're only choosing the scripture that they want to use as a weapon.
Yeah, when you get further on, it says liars, adulterers, fornicators. I mean, we go down the list, but we don't talk about that.
Here, my thing is we just got to start loving people, man. Like, just let it go. It's none of your business. Your salvation is yours with God.
Do you want to come share that with the church?
Yeah. I mean, it's your salvation. It's not what they do with their life in their bed. And that's what I told the political advisors when I was running. It's not my business. Yes, I may not agree with it biblically and scripturally. I don't agree with it. But at the end of the day, it's not my life.
Mm-hmm.
My relationship with God is my relationship. I'm going to be judged enough on the sins that I've committed. I don't need to be judged on how I've judged someone else. The Bible says don't judge people.
I got enough things in my life to take care of.
Trust me, dude. We all do. But these people who are constantly throwing slugs and casting judgment on individuals from the LGBT community, they forget that. And they use their Bible as a weapon. And that is absolute bullshit. And God doesn't like that either, brother.
I think that is a proponent of fear, because if you are in charge of your household, you raise your kids under the precepts that you see fitting. I think that fear steps in. Well, this is going to corrupt my kids and my grandchildren and those further down the line. No, if you teach, the Bible says, train up a child when they are old, and they will not depart. Doesn't mean they're not going to stray, and doesn't mean we're not going to go through our own deals. But if you'll do the right teaching in the home,
yeah,
and quit worrying about everything else that's going on.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, my uncle was brought up in a very strict Christian, based, family valued home. My wife's family is extremely sound in their Christian faith. In fact, one of her uncles is a pastor who I love. You know why I love his teachings? Because he wasn't always a pastor. He's lived the normal life. He was a police officer for a while.
That's my father.
I love it.
Yeah, he understands life, not this was a planned profession and I went to seminary for a profession. No, I came out of my crap.
Right, because I had a following and God taught me, put it on my heart to lead. And so, I just, we've become a society that is so judgmental, and that we have politicians and we have people that are using, the Bible as a weapon against people. It's not meant to be a weapon. It's meant to be a guide, for as many times as it says whatever you think that it says or however you've interpreted it, also says love thy neighbor, be a good spiritual man of your household.
Mike, think about this. It says love your neighbor as you
love yourself.
So if you're out there being a jackass, maybe you don't love yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe if you don't have self-value, that's why you don't value other people.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, I'm going to be president of the United States.
I'll vote for you.
Yeah, I
just want in the cabinet.
Seriously, man, like I really want to run at some point for office at a higher level, and I have people that I love that tell me don't do it because it's just going to continue to frustrate me because I'm one person. I can't have that much influence, but I think that I can. And the reason why I think that I can is because I've always been the person that's not afraid to say what needs to be said, who stands on my morals and values and principles, and that's going to do what I believe is right. Even if it's not popular. And, I would love to run for Congress or even Senate. But the problem is that I don't know if I can pull enough votes because, one side's going to hate me I would get eaten by my own. If I run as a Republican, the Republicans are going to eat me up because they're going to say, well, you believe that a woman should have a right to choose. Yep, you're damn right I do. Because that's her body, that's her choice, it's her decision, it's her salvation with her God. We represent more than just Christians. We represent Hindus and Muslims and the unchurched. We cannot be just establishing laws that fit your needs and your narrative based upon your religious beliefs while you're out sinning just as equal, right? Do I believe that life starts at conception? Absolutely I do. Do I believe abortion's wrong? Yes, I do. But I, as a lawmaker, hopefully a future lawmaker, know that I can't legislate people on what the decisions that they make. It goes against the foundational principles of being a conservative. You want to be a constitutionalist? You don't want to infringe upon people's rights to make their own decisions? You want to have less government, smaller government? Then why, when it comes to the individual rights of a woman, do you want to impose your Christian values on them? It's not your business.
People are going to be people. Murder's wrong.
Absolutely.
People still do it.
Absolutely, it's wrong. And so, man, we can have this conversation, on and on and on, but it's people just got to learn to love each other, man. That's where we really need to start making some change. Think
about when Jesus came to the woman at the well, and she looked at him and said, there was such a stigma. Why are you talking to me? Your kind is not supposed to talk to my kind. And he told her, if you'll listen to what I have to say. And he showed her love.
Yeah.
And he gave her what she needed. Let's take a break. We'll hop